Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're doing something a little bit different and honestly, incredibly fun. We're taking a standard mathematics chapter and completely flipping it on its head. We're going to treat this not as a static, boring textbook, but as a gamified bootcamp of visual logic, number combinations, and real-world skills. Think of this as a series of levels you need to beat to become a master problem solver.
So, are you ready to play along? Let's just dive right into this challenge. The absolute brilliance of this chapter is that it's not going to let you just sit back and watch. It demands active calculation from us. Treat every new concept we explore today as a mini puzzle that the book uses to unlock the very next stage of logic.
Here's our level map for this explainer. We'll start with visual puzzles and counting, move on to mastering number combinations, solve some magic grids, and finally tackle real-world math with coins.
All right, level 1, visual puzzles and counting. Let's get started.
Now, before we can jump into any complex math, we really need to establish a baseline, right? And we do that through simple visual data gathering. The source chapter hits us right out of the gate with a fantastic exercise, finding out how many children in a class have 3 letters in their names, how many have 4 letters, and how many have more than 4. This isn't just about counting. It excellently shows how a child visualizes and categorizes collected data in a real-world classroom setting. You're literally taking raw information, like your friends' names, and sorting it into structured buckets.
And I just love how the text illustrates this. It shows the sheer joy of foundational counting with a student using her fingers. I mean, it's the most universal built-in calculator we have. Connecting that physical movement to abstract counting is exactly how we lock these concepts into our memory for good.
Okay, but then the challenge really ramps up. Boom. We're hit with this rapid-fire, completely scattered list of numbers from 0 to 17 straight from the text. Your brain immediately wants to sort them from smallest to largest, doesn't it? It perfectly challenges us to bring mental order to numerical chaos, forcing us to recognize numbers out of sequence before we can actually use them in any equations.
Moving right along to level 2, mastering number combinations.
Now, check out this addition wheel. It's a fantastic visual tool designed by the chapter to really test your mental agility. Notice how the number 15 sits right smack in the middle? That means every single pathway from the outer edge straight through the inner circle absolutely must sum up to that exact center target.
So let's actually walk through the logical steps to crack a puzzle like this. First, you lock onto your center target, which is 15. Next, you check the provided inner circle number. Let's say it's 8. Now your brain has to actively calculate the missing outer piece. What plus 8 gives you 15? It's 7. It takes a standard, run-of-the-mill math problem and turns it into this dynamic, inward-flowing puzzle.
Let's put that logic to the test right now. The chapter throws this direct puzzle at us to test those combination skills on the fly. If you have 2 seeds, representing 2 distinct numbers, what amounts are you going to choose to hit a total of exactly 17?
To make this super concrete, just imagine the squirrel from the text out there trying to divide up these seeds in the wild. What combinations actually work? Well, you could have 10 and 7, or, maybe 8 and 9. It requires looking at the total resources you have available and finding a perfect harmony between 2 separate parts.
And you might be wondering, why 17? Why is that such a great number for this exercise? Well, reaching a target number of 17 requires holding an odd total in your mind while balancing those 2 parts. You can't just divide it neatly down the middle. It really forces you to stretch your combination skills way further than an even number ever would.
All right, stepping up to level 3, solving the magic grids.
Here, the chapter presents us with this fascinating, almost Sudoku-style challenge. We're asked to take the numbers 5 through 9 and place them in a card grid so that both the row and the column have the exact same total. You can't just think in a straight line anymore. You really have to start thinking about intersections. The crucial point here is that by placing the numbers strategically, the math works seamlessly whether you're reading top to bottom or left to right. Every single number you drop into a box is pulling double duty. So if you place a large number like a 9, it heavily impacts both its row and its column, meaning you're going to need smaller numbers like 5 just to balance the overall grid.
Then the text throws us a total curveball, trying to get to a target center number. But what if we mix up the operations entirely? How in the world do we arrive at the exact same numerical destination using completely different mathematical paths?
Well, look at this direct comparison from the text. 7 minus 1 equals 6. But hey, 3 plus 3 also equals 6. This is just absolute gold. because it proves that whether you are taking away or adding together, having that logical flexibility gets you to the right answer. There is rarely just one single way to solve a problem in mathematics.
And finally, we've made it to level 4, real-world math. Coins.
At this stage, the chapter introduces a character named Sarita and her currency, and this is where it gets real. It perfectly bridges the gap between those abstract worksheet grids we were just solving and the actual tangible economy you interact with every single day. Let's take a really close look at our physical coins. The 1 rupee and 2 rupee coins sitting side by side, they represent the absolute building blocks of our value system. Think back to our early counting and basic addition levels. These are quite literally the physical manifestations of those single-digit numbers. And this concept builds so beautifully as we compare the heavier golden 5 rupee and 10 rupee coins. By bringing in these larger values, the source text allows for much faster counting and higher combinations. You don't need to carry around 15 1 rupee coins. You can just use a 10 and a 5. It's pure efficiency in practice.
So let's bring this whole thing together. The chapter asks, how would you combine Sarita's 1, 2, 5, and 10 rupee coins to hit our previous targets of 15 or 17? This is brilliant because it shows exactly how those abstract combination skills from level 2 instantly help you calculate your exact change at the store. A 10, a 5, and a 2, boom, you're right at 17.
It all comes full circle. This image of a young boy confidently counting on his fingers brings us right back to the fundamentals. Whether you're sorting names by letter count, cracking a 15 addition wheel, balancing a magic grid, or calculating rupees, the core skill is always the same: taking raw information, combining it, and organizing it into something highly useful.
So, congratulations on conquering the challenge. We've successfully leveled up from simple visual counting all the way to real-world money skills. I want to leave you with this. Now that your brain is properly wired to see the equations, what hidden math puzzles will you decode in your everyday world today? Keep those eyes open, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next explainer.